Hi everyone. So I know today's class was a little bit messy, and yeah, Replit and the animations weren't really working well. So I'm creating this video to just go over everything that we did in class so that you can get a more detailed overview of how to do it. So first, let's just add Vantajs and Aos.Js to a website, and then we'll work on deploying it. So I'll just create a new REPL. Okay, so first let's get a basic layout for our website. Let me go full screen. Okay. Okay, so let's link our style sheet. Okay, so let's just put some stuff and make sure that our website works. Cool. Okay, let's start editing our CSS. So we're just going to make a portfolio website, but it'll be very simple, so that since the point is for you to get an idea of how to add animations and your animated background. Okay, so let's have a hero. Hero div. And again, this will be simple, so I won't put too much. And then let's say a body div. Okay, and maybe I shouldn't give this an ID of body because body is already part of CSS, so let's just say main. Okay. So now let's style our hero. So, first, let's make sure our body doesn't have an overflow X, because as you can see right here, this looks ugly, so let's go ahead and remove that. So body, overflow X, so set it hidden, and so the horizontal scroll bar will be gone. Just to make sure, yep, it's gone. Okay, so hero. Okay, and also I'm not going to set any background colors, because if I set a background color, then it'll appear on top of the Vantajs background and you won't be able to see the animated background. So let's not add any background colors. Okay, hero, so position, absolute. We want this to be at the top of the page and take up the entire screen, right? So position absolute, top 0, left 0 to stop at the top, start at the top left, width 100 view width, height 100 view height. Okay, so that should be our content. And okay, I know I said I won't put a background color, but I'll just put one for now while we are debugging to make sure everything works. Cool. Okay, so now inside our hero, let's just add a very simple, let's say div with just an h1 and a p tag. Hello world. So add a p tag. My name is Lorem. Ipsum. Okay. Now let's say we want to center this div in the middle. So let's say I'll give it, actually we don't need an ID. We'll just style hero and make it display flex so that this div and the contents inside are centered vertically and horizontally. So let's just add a nice display flex. Okay, justify content center to center horizontally. Align items center to center vertically. Okay, let's run and see. There we go. So we'll just say that this is our body. Nice and simple, right? Okay. Now let's add some stuff in our main. So our main again will be position absolute. So it'll be pretty similar to hero, except that we will start 100 view height from the top, right? So 100 view height is the entire screen height, so from like about here down here. So we want to start from here. That's where our main or the body of our page will be, right? So top 100 view height, left will still be 0. Okay, yeah, width 100 view width, height 100 view height. Okay, I'll give it a background color of green for now, just for testing, and we will remove this later so that we can see the Vanta background. Okay, let's make sure it's working. There you go, there's the background. Okay, and now let's just add some more simple text. I'll just copy this. We just want a nice and simple website, since we're not focusing on making a portfolio website, but just testing out animations and Vanta. Okay, so body of website, and then I'll just say, I don't know, lorem ipsum. Sure. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, I didn't add display flex yet, so let's go and add display flex. We can just copy it from above right here and copy it in. All right, let's run. Cool. Okay, so now we have our basic website layout done. And again, it's a simple website because we just want to test the Vantajs background as well as animations, right? Okay, so now let's go and add our Vantajs background. Okay, so we'll just go to vantajs.com, and now we can select one that we want. Now I'm going to select a pretty simple one because my computer is pretty slow and I don't want to make it slow it down any more than it already is. So let's say dots. Okay, so now here you have your two scripts, right? Let's just copy them into our HTML head. And remember, because like right now, if you just look at this file does not exist in our files, right? So this won't work. So you have to go back to the Vantajs website and copy link address, right? And if you just paste it, this is the actual link address, and you can see that this is the JavaScript, right? So you have to paste the actual link and not just the file name. So there you go. That's a bit long. Nah, it's okay. You get the idea. Oh, and by the way, I will link to this Replit later. But anyways, if you want to go right now, it's just replit.com/@esu5 lumbering pesky atom. Okay. Same thing for the second one. So copy link address and paste it in. Cool. Okay. So now the library is loaded, right? But it's not going to do anything yet because we've loaded the library but haven't done anything with it yet. Okay, actually, I'm just going to open this in a new tab so we can view from here, and then I can just get rid of this, and so we can have more space for the code. Okay. Okay, so we have our two scripts, right? But now we also need the code to make the dots actually run. So we'll just copy this. Actually, we'll just copy the entire script tag, and we'll add it to the bottom. So right before the closing body tag, let's add it in. Okay, and the formatting is a little bit broken, which is fine. You can use this button up here to just format everything. Nice. Okay. Alright, so this won't work yet because if you look here, your element selector, we don't have an element selector yet, right? So here, let me just go back full screen. Okay, so as I did in class, we have to create a div and ID is background. And we don't want anything in this div. The div is just going to be empty, and then when we call this vanta.dots function, it'll attach a canvas to this background element, and that's where the background is. So we don't want to put anything in it. The background is just an element that we will attach the background to. So we'll just say div ID equals background with nothing at the moment, and now we'll change this to be background, right? And a hashtag because it's an ID. Okay, now let's save this and let's take a look. Replit, come on. Okay, very slow, very slow. Okay, let me see what's going on. Replit. Yeah, DevTools is always very useful, so you can, yeah, if there's any issues, you'll see like a red X up here, and if you click on the issue, it'll tell you what's wrong with your code. So that's very useful if you don't know what's going on. But right now, okay, so the canvas is added. The background is not displayed yet because, as I said before, we have this background color that we don't want, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go remove it from the code in Replit in a second, but right now I'm just gonna show you that DevTools, you can just untick, and there, right? You can just untick, and there's the background. Anyways, let's go back into our Replit to make these changes. Oh, and any changes you make in DevTools, if we refresh the page, it's gone, right? Because it's just temporary. So if we want to get rid of the background color for forever, for certain, just get rid of it in the code. And let's save. Okay. And now let's just see. Okay. Okay, now if we refresh again, boom, there is our background, right? Looks pretty good. But of course, it's not taking up the full width, right? And we want to make it take up the full screen width. So that's pretty easy to do, right? So we'll go back to our HTML, and we'll apply a style to this ID background. So we'll say background. Okay, and we want the position to be fixed, right? Because if we scroll down on the page, we want the background to remain where it is. We don't want it to scroll with the page. So we'll say position fixed, top 0, left 0, so starting at the top left, width 100 view width, height 100 view height. Cool. And that'll make it take up the whole screen. Now we want to add a Z index -1 because it's a background. So we want it to appear in the background, right? So elements, so if you forgot, elements in HTML have a default Z index of 0. But if we set the background index to -1, it'll appear below everything because -1 is less than 0. Okay, so let's just save this. Okay, and let's take a look. There. So now our background is now an actual background, right? And it's behind the page. And if you scroll down, the position of the background stays fixed. Pretty awesome, right? Okay. So we have our background working, but you can see that this text is not very visible. So I know I said that we're just going to make a simple website for testing, but since we're already here, we might as well make it look a little bit nicer. So let's just say, let's style this H1NP and H1NP. So let's say, okay, H1, say font size 32 pixels, and then color FFF, which is white. You can also use the word white. Yeah, and, oh, oops, my bad. Just H1, right? Because we want to, because right now we have two H1s on the page, here and here, and we just want to style them. So we can just select it generically with H1, font size 32 pixels, color white. Let's give this a go. There, let's do the same thing for the P tag. So a P tag, let's say font size 24 pixels. Okay, we can probably make this like 64. Okay, here we can say color, white as well. Let's make sure everything is working. Replit, come on. Okay, let's try that again. Cool, so there you go. We have our hero and our body. Nice and simple, and the background is working, right? And you'll notice that if I move my mouse, the background moves ever so slightly, right? And if you don't want the background to move and be interactive with your mouse, you can just change it here, right? You can just say mouse controls false, and there won't be any mouse controls. You can say touch controls false, there won't be any touch controls, and so on. Okay. Okay, let's just run again. Why is Raplet so slow? Okay. Right, now you'll see that when I move my mouse around, the background stays fixed and doesn't really move, right? Okay, so we have our background done now. And, oh, okay, let me just take this time to show you something kind of cool. So, right now, as you can see, our hero text is kind of hard to see with the background, right? But we can actually add a blur to this div. And then it'll have a nice effect and make the text more visible. So I'll just show you that. It's pretty simple. Okay, so we have hero and then div, right? So let me select. Okay, so I want to select this div right here. So to select it, I'll say hashtag hero and then angle bracket div to select the div that is inside of the hero, right? So hashtag hero div. I'll use this arrow to say that only the immediate children or any div that is like right within hero and not nested within other elements. So yeah, so hero, so the inside of hero, this div, we can just add, we have this, we have a property called backdrop filter, blur, and then we can say blur 2 pixels. Let's wait for this to save and then let's go take a look. Okay, Raplet, come on. Okay. And now there's this nice little backdrop filter, right? So a backdrop filter is just like a background applied to the element, right? So in this case, if I use #hero div backdrop filter, I'm saying on this div right here, apply a background filter. And what do I want the filter to be? Blur. How much blur? 2 pixels. And that's what gives it this nice blur effect, right? It does look kind of weird though, right? Like, yeah, but anyways, that's not the point. The point is that like it works, right? Okay, so now let's move on to animations. And since we're going to do animations, it might make sense to add a border so you can see what's going on. So let's just add a pixel of 1 border, solid white. And again, you can just use the word white. I just like using the hex because it's less characters. Okay, nice border. Let's add some padding to make it look better. So say padding, I don't know, 24 pixels. Add a nice border radius, maybe 16 pixels. Let's take a look. Nice. So this looks pretty good. It's pretty simple, right? Because yeah, we're just here to do the animations and the background. Okay, let's do the same for the bottom as well. We actually don't have to make any new CSS blocks. We can just separate with a comma and then just say #main and then select the div inside main. Oops. So main div and then there. So this styling right here will be applied to both the hero, the div inside the hero, and the div inside the main. So save page, refresh, there we go. Body of website and hero. Pretty simple stuff, right? So now let's go and add some animations to it. So I'm gonna exit out of full screen and let's go to Aos.Js. Okay, so back into our HTML, we're going to want to put this code in the head, right? So let's go down to the very bottom and follow the instructions that it gives us. So again, don't worry about this get it or install using yarn npm. Yeah, just use cdn sources. So we'll just copy this link over into our HTML, and same thing with the script. Now the order doesn't matter, so like it doesn't matter if you import like this link before this script or this script after this link. It doesn't matter. Okay, and at the bottom we need to initialize AOS, right? Our animate on scroll library. Now we don't have to copy this entire block because if we look down here, we already have a script tag, right, where our JavaScript is running. So we can just make a new line and simply copy over aos.init. There. So now, with the CSS and JS and the aos.init, our website now has the AOS library loaded as well. And now I can simply go and add data AOS. For example, data AOS equals fade up. So let's save this page. Come on, Replit. Okay, so now there we go. There is our beautiful animation, right? Let's also add it down here for our body div right here. So data AOS equals fade up. Let's save that. And let's refresh the page. And there you go. Your nice little animations, right? When you scroll down, there it comes. Right? And of course, if we want to make the animation go for longer, just AOS, data AOS duration equals, say 3000, and then that's in milliseconds, right? So that would be 3 seconds. Let's say we do it for the body div as well, and let's save it. Okay, take another look. There, so it's much slower, but it does work, right? And yeah, sorry if it looks a bit laggy because my computer is slow, so yeah, the frames are dropping a little bit, but you get the general idea. It works, right? So there you go. There are your animations. Might as well just try some other animations while here. Zoom in is a pretty nice animation. I like it. So let's say we add a zoom in. Zoom in and zoom in. Right, and let's say we don't yeah, the default time for zoom in is good enough. We don't want it to be too slow, so we'll just get rid of these 2 lines, save the code, refresh the page, and there, we have a nice fade in animation, right? Nice fade in animation. Cool. So that's our animations. So now if we go back and look at our web page, we have our nice Vantajs.js background, and we have our animations with Aos.js. And of course, all of these you can customize to whatever you want, right? Like on the Vanta website, you can find whatever background you want, and the process is just the same, right? Just follow what I did, and then you can add to your website. And yeah, you can use fade in, zoom out, whatever property, whatever data AOS property that you want. Yeah, okay. Now let's move on to deploying your website without Raplet, right? So throughout this course, we have been using Raplet, and as I've talked about in class today, what we've been learning is HTML, CSS, and JS, and these are generic and browser standards, right? So it doesn't matter that if we're doing this on Raplet because it'll still run anywhere other than Raplet, right? So yeah, Raplet is slow, right? Well, like there's nice things about Raplet, right? For example, you can always use Raplet on a school computer and you don't have to install anything. And like if you do your work on a school computer, since Raplet is saved to the cloud, you can just go home and try it on your home computer as well, right? But let's say you want some more customizability, you want some more power, right? Well, in that case, we can easily just deploy it to a different service. For example, Netlify, which I showed in class, but unfortunately you guys couldn't get to experiment with because the school Wi-Fi, there's too many people on the school Wi-Fi trying to create an account, and like everybody was on the same IP, and then like Netlify got mad and like didn't let us do that, right? So anyways, we can do that now, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so first of all, these 3 files in your HTML, right? These files are like in Replit right now, right? So in order to upload them to Netlify, we have to download as a zip. So simply download as a zip. Okay, and I'll open up my downloads. Right, and so let's extract the zip. We will need to extract it in order to upload to Netlify. Okay. You can delete the zip after. The important things are in the folder, right? Okay, so let me just show you some stuff quickly since we're here, right? So, okay, so these are your files, right? So you have your style.css, your script.js, which we're not using at the moment, and our index.html. Don't worry about these other files. These are just like Replit like files that just exist. Like you really don't need them, and you can even delete them if you want. But yeah, the most important files here are style.css and index.html. Now you'll notice that there's a Chrome icon on this index.html, and that's because HTML can be opened in your browser. You don't have to host it on Replit, right? So if I just double click, now it's opened on my local browser, right? So I'm viewing the copy, the local copy of this website, because if we see in the URL, it's, oops, what happened? No, okay. It's my C drive, users, my username, and my downloads in the folder in index.html, right? So I'm just viewing this website locally in my browser, right? And so the nice thing about this is that you can finally say goodbye to Replit. Bye-bye, right? Because you can just edit your HTML in your on your local computer, right? So for example, you can just open up Notepad, and then you can just like, sorry, my computer is getting really slow. Okay, I'm just going to hide this page for now because my computer is not very fast. Okay, right, and you can just like drag this index.html into your Notepad, and now you can edit it here. Any changes you make here will directly be applied to your index.html file. So if you view your index.html file locally in your browser, it's updated. Right, so for example, well, okay, like you could use Notepad, right? But if you want to get into web development and coding in general, you're going to need a editor at some point, right? So I recommend Visual Studio Code. Now, of course, this is supposed to be a simple video, so I'm not going to show you much, but I'm just going to show you, for example, how it would look when you edit an HTML file in index.html. Okay, don't worry about this. This is just my previous stuff. Okay, and like all I have to do is just drag it in, and there's my index.html, right? And I can also, for example, if I want to edit multiple files at once, I can just drag this. Hey, come on. I can just drag this there. And this is a nice thing about VS Code, right? You can edit your index.html on one side and your style.css on the other, right? For now, I'm just going to close it. Okay, let's just make some changes to show you that it works, right? So right now, if we view our website, our local copy, right? It just says hello world. I can simply add letter 2, save it, and refresh my local copy, and there, hello world 2, right? Okay, I'm just gonna go back to the blank page because my computer is slow and it can't handle the background. But yeah, so the point here is that when you download your files from Replit, you now have an entire copy of your website that you can edit and upload anywhere, and it'll work, right? So if you edit it on your local machine, you can always view it in your browser, right? Now, one thing to keep in mind, and one thing that I've been asked a lot is, do these changes go to Replit? Well, hopefully that's kind of obvious that no. Like when you edit a file locally on your computer, Replit doesn't know that you've been editing on your computer, right? So if you want your Replit website to be updated, either you just work inside of Replit or you work on your local machine and then upload your new copy back to Replit. But yeah, changes on your machine are completely local. They won't reflect anywhere, right? Okay, anyways, that was just some nice, interesting stuff to show you. But yeah, the focus is to deploy this website, right? So we want to deploy our website to a service called Netlify, right? Because now we can finally forget about Replit. So let's just go to netlify.com. Okay, and since you're at home, you can create an account and hopefully it'll work, right? So you can just use sign up and create an account, right? I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in. Right? Okay, so yeah, once you create your account and log in, you'll see a page similar like this. Right? It won't be this populated because like I already have previous websites such as CodeReach.ca, which is deployed on Netlify. But yeah, you'll be in your dashboard. And now to create a new website, it's very simple. Just add new site and deploy manually. Now just click on this browse to upload and then go and select the folder. So if we look back in our downloads, this is the folder, right? This is the folder of our project files. So we'll just select it, right? We'll just select it, upload, and then say yes. And now, almost instantly, your website will be uploaded to Netlify. And there, your website is online. So if we visit this link, this is your website, right? This is the website that we made. And it is accessible at this link. So, oh yeah, also, I should mention that like local links only work on your computer, right? And this should be fairly obvious. Like if you copy this link to your friend's computer, it won't work because like this is specific to your computer, right? But the copy that we deploy at Netlify is a real URL and anybody can access this URL to see your website. And it was really simple to deploy, right? So Netlify is pretty cool. Okay, and let's say you don't like this URL, right? Easy. Click on domain settings. Click options, edit site name, and then we can give it a nice name. Now some of them might be taken sometimes, so like if I say hippo, it's probably taken, right? Yeah, but we can add like hippo codes, and if you can claim it, it's yours, right? So now you have claimed this website, hippocodes.netlify.app, and now if you access it, there's your website, right? So now you have a nice website domain, or in this case, it's a subdomain. All right, so you have a nice website URL. It's online, so anybody can access it, and hopefully it was pretty easy. Okay, but let's say we make some changes to our website, and we want to upload a new copy of our website. All right, so for example, I'm just going to open up Notepad, and okay, I'm just going to edit this index.html inside of my Notepad. Right, and let's say instead of hello world 2, let's say hello world 9. Right, so let's view this local copy. As you can see, the local copy says hello world 9 because it's the local copy on your machine that we just edited, right? Now, if you again, changes on your local machine won't affect the remote copy, right? So if we have already deployed a copy to Netlify, it'll still be at hello world 2, right? But our local version is up to date at hello world 9. So how do we update our already deployed website to have hello world 9. Very simple. Just go to deploys and then click yeah, and now we can create a new deploy. So same thing, just browse to upload, click on the folder, upload, say yes, and boom. The new copy is now published. So now if we go to our online website, it now says hello world 9 because we've uploaded the latest copies and changes to Netlify, right? And like you can just look here in production deploys, right? At 8:41, that was like 3 minutes ago, that's when we deployed our first copy that said hello world 2, right? But like at 8:43, which is like 1 minute, like what we just did, we uploaded a new copy that had hello world 9. As you can see here, that copy is published, which is why we see hello world 9, right? Yeah, so that's it. So hopefully this clears things up. I know today's class was pretty chaotic. There was a lot of questions, a lot of things didn't work. It was pretty messy, right? Yeah, so I apologize. Yeah, it was not planned, and Raplet and Netlify kind of just broke on the school Wi-Fi. So yeah, there's really not much we can do about that. But hopefully this video will help you understand how to add an animated background, how to add animations, and how to deploy it officially to Netlify. Okay, so I hope this video helped, and I will see you next week. Have a great week.